Okay, part two of the series finale recap, the end series finale recap of Lost. We just entered where we were shoving Desmond down the well with Jack and Locke, and um, Locke is mentioning how this seems familiar, that we're luring people into this hole, and Desmond's down there. It's kind of like the times at the hatch, and Jack just snaps back with, "Bitch, you ain't Locke. You disrespect his memory by wearing his face. He was actually right about almost everything, and I just wish I could have told him that while he's alive. Jack is the master of burnage." Boom. But anyway, Desmond like uncorks this giant thing in the middle of the Cave of Wonders, and things started like raining fire down from the heavens, and there's lava or some shit, and Desmond's just screaming his head off. He's like, "No, no, no, no!" Ah! And we all started going, "No, no, no, Desmond, no! What's going on?" And that was at least my reaction. But anyway, Locke just steps away, and he's all like cocky, and he's like, "Oh, it looks like you were wrong. Toodaloos!" And he walks away, and Jack freaks out and like pummels him to the ground and starts beating him, and he's bleeding. Like fake Locke is bleeding, the guy who's been impenetrable to bullets and everything. And he says, "Well, it looks like you were wrong too." And they start getting in this fight, but then fake Locke takes a rock and slams it against his head. What's going on? But flash sideways. This is probably sketchy. I don't remember exactly how it aired, but we get Hurley and Saeed talking in a car about being a good person, and Saeed said he's not a good person. He's done a lot of bad things in his life, and Hurley says that, well, maybe you can change that. It's up to you to decide whether you're a good or bad person. I love it. But they notice there's these guys that are starting to fight against this one dude, and Saeed's kind of looking, and then he hears a girl, Shannon, who says, "Stop it, leave my brother alone." And then they start beating her, and Saeed just shows up, takes him out with one punch, because that's what Saeed does. And he says, "Are you all right?" And they grasp each other's arms, and they remember their time on the island, like him brushing her hair, and them having sex, them kissing. And I'll be honest, at first I was a little pissed, because I was like, wait a minute. Okay, Saeed spent 7 years of his life searching for Nadia. He finally married her. They lived together for about a year. She died. Ben manipulated him into killing people in order to stop her, in order to avenge her murder. It's like, why is he just suddenly so happy with Shannon? But since I know what the ending really is now, and since I started rewatching season one before the series finale, I realized how adorable they are, and how they truly were meant for each other. So I'm happy with that one. I'm good with Saeed and Shannon together. And Boone shows up, and somehow he's remembered everything. I don't know how. I'm hoping that he touched a pen or something, and that's what made him flash back. But he's talking to Hurley, and he says, "Will you take your time getting here?" He's like, "I'm sorry, it takes as long as it takes." And he notices Saeed and Shannon making out, which normally in the original timeline he would have gone over and punched one of them, but he's just like, "Should I go get him?" He's like, "Nah." And Hurley just goes, "Nah, just give him a minute." It's so cute. But anyway, on the island, Locke is walking out to the cliff, and he's just kind of doing the big bad guy thing where he's like, "Ooh, look how awesome I am. See how my plan turned out." And he's getting ready to leave. And Jack freaks out and just goes like, "God!" Only he yells Locke instead. And he starts running at him full speed, and he jumps up and Falcon Punch, and then it's a commercial break, and we were like, "No!" It was like the greatest moment ever that Jack ever did. Go Jack. And commercial break ends. They're fighting with each other. They're punching each other. There's pieces of the island crumbling off. Shit is going down. You smell that, kids? That's the epicness in the air. But then Fake Locke grabs his knife and he plunges it into Jack's side, and we all went, "No! No!" Even the Jack haters were like, "No! Oh my God! Fake Locke can't win! This is not right!" And he turns him over and he starts getting ready to slit his throat, and he just goes, "I want you to know, Jack, that you died for nothing." And then there's a shot just ringing through the air, and Kate shows up, and she's like, "Yeah, I saved you a bullet." And every one of us decided to forgive Kate at that moment for being so lame. And we were just like, "Yes, Kate is awesome." And he just says, he looks around, he notices the island is still crumbling, and he says, "You're too late." And Jack just goes, "Bitch, please!" And he kicks him off the cliff, and he falls to his death like every classic bad guy. Yes, Fake Locke is dead. Happy Dance meter at 10. Yes, he's gone. But the island's still in trouble, so I don't know what's going to happen now. But anyway, we flash back, and we notice that Jack's cut is bleeding. So it's like what happened on the island was happening in the flash sideways, and that's what Mr. Benwar's appendix was. Oh my God, I'm so happy. But he meets with his ex-wife and his son. The ex-wife is Juliet. Juliet is David's mom. We called this one, but it was still great to see. And they're really like the most amicable exes ever. Like, I can't really speak because I'm pretty good friends with both my ex-boyfriends, but I don't know. They were just really cool with each other, and he gives Juliet the tickets to David's concert, and they're talking about bringing in Claire, and, Jack says she'd love her because she's extremely pregnant, and she wants to know more about this weird sister that he never mentioned, which was really cool. But anyway, let's go to Miles and Richard, and we're going to go to Miles and Richard real quick, and they're getting ready to go to Hydra Island. This was before all the storm stuff started happening. I kind of forgot about this for a second. And he just says, like, oh, well, you're in the same club as me now. And Richard's like, what? And he pulls out a hair. It's gray. Richard is aging. And he says, like, I just realized how much I want to live. And Miles just like, well, that's great timing. Yes! He's gonna age. He's gonna die. He'll be with his wife finally. Yes! I love Richard. I can't even. Just keep going. But they're paddling out. And they hear someone calling for him. They're like, hey, help me, help me, help me. And Happy Dance meter at 20. Frank Lapidus is alive. Yes, 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 yes. I was not ready to handle that. I had already lost Saeed, Jin, and Sun. I was not happy to see that if Lapidus had died, that he lived, because Frank is just so freaking awesome and the coolest guy ever. And they pull him up, and Richard tells him of his plan to blow up the plane. He says, like, well, why are you going to do that? And he's like, because the smoke monster, we can't let him get on there. And he says, well, let's just fly off it. In case you haven't noticed, I'm a pilot. Frank Lapidus, awesome stamp badge of awesomeness. I don't even know how to word it. But we go back to after the fight scene between Jack and Locke, and Kate notices he's been stabbed, and she's trying to tend to him. And Jack's looking really kind of, like, pale in the face. He's bleeding everywhere. And she's just like, oh my god, is it okay? Are you going to be alright? And he goes, yeah, just give me some stitches, and I'll count to 5, and I'll be fine. Aw, little reference to the first episode. Sweet. But they're talking to Miles. They find out through Miles and them that the plane is getting ready to take off, and if they want to leave, they got to get there. And I forgot to mention, again, like, when the island was crumbling down, Hurley was in the way, and Ben was just like, move, get out of the way, and he shoved him, and then a tree fell on him. Ben was just, he officially redeemed himself for any bad thing he might have done for saving Hugo. And they managed to get him out, which if he was going to die under that tree, I was going to be pissed. Because if my Ben was going to die, I wanted it to be a noble death, not something like that. But he managed to escape. They're over there now. I'm sorry I keep breaking this up, but... and he says, you have to go. I have to go there, because the island's still shaking. And Sawyer's just like, well, it looks like, fake Locke's dead, but it's not over. And he says, Desmond did something, and I have to go fix it. And Kate says, no, you don't. Just come with us. And he goes, no, I have to. It's like, you have to get on that plane. You have to get Claire out of here, just leave. And Kate says, like, well, tell me I'm going to see you again, and he can't do that, so they kiss each other, and they say, I love you. And I know there are some skaters out there, but I mean, I'm more for Sawyer and Juliet, because I like their characters way better, but I'm glad it was Jack and Kate in the end. That's all I need. They say their I love yous. They leave, and Ben, in a totally great moment, tosses the walkie to James and says, if the island's going down, I'm going down with it. Yes. And, he tells Hurley he should leave too, and Hurley says, no way, I'm not going down that thing, I'm with you, dude. Oh, this is so great. I love everything. But Kate walks away crying, and, Miles tells them they have to get there now, because they're getting ready to leave. They're trying to fix the airplane. Richard says, maybe you've got an hour, you don't have 5 or 6 to fix this thing. So Kate does this awesome swan dive off the cliff, and she does it with Sawyer, and they swim to Hydra Island as fast as they can. It was incredible. But anyway, let's go to Jack and Hurley and Ben, and he's just like, I'm going down there. He's like, no, you can't go down there. Let someone else, because if you go down there, you're gonna die. He's like, this isn't what you need. You're a protector of the island. He's like, I've done as much as I can. It's up to you now, Hugo. My cousin and I were right. It was Hurley is the ultimate protector of the island. Nerdgasm right there. But he tells him, it's time for you to protect the island. It needs you. And Hurley's crying, and it's just so heartbreaking to watch. But he gives him the cup, and he says, well, now you're like me. And he says, yeah, okay, I'll protect this just until you come back. But as soon as you get back, it's up to you. And we're going to end part 2. I'm going to start with part 3 here shortly.